What's up guys, it's your boy DS, and today we're going to be talking about Long Fallen Dynasty. Now with the game being about a week away, I wanted to go ahead and make a video telling you guys just some of the things you need to know before you guys pre-order or buy the game or anything like that. Now I've put a bunch of hours into the demo already, on top of looking at many different videos and trailers and content, so I can get as much information as possible. So with that being said, these are 9 things you need to know before buying Long Dynasty. The first thing I want to talk about is the combat. Overall, I think the combat is very nice. It is really fast paced. There's a lot of different aspects that go into the combat, and if I had to compare it to any other game, it kind of reminds me a lot of Sekiro. And one of the main reasons is because with Sekiro, the game was like really fast paced. A lot of the enemies are going to swing fast, they're going to move fast. If you don't parry, you will get hit, and you can eventually just get smacked and die easily. From the light attacks to the heavies to the magic to the parry system, blocking, dodging, I feel like the combat in this game is something that they've worked really hard on, and it definitely shows. For anyone that's played any other Souls-like, whether it's Sekiro, Elden Ring, Neo, or otherwise, I feel like this game does combat very well, and you will not be disappointed. The next thing I want to talk about is the difficulty. Already starting off, the first boss in the demo is clearly ridiculously hard to fight. I feel like they made the boss as difficult as he is to basically set a standard. There are a lot of people in the videos that I've made and just all across the internet that I see talking about, oh well, the boss is too hard, why is the boss this hard, I don't understand why they did this, etc, etc. And I feel like they did this simply to show you guys, hey, this is what you can expect from this game. This is a Souls-like type of game. So if you're not ready to learn the boss mechanics and, learn the mechanics of the game and understand how the parry system works and deflecting the boss attacks and all of these other aspects, this may not be the game for you. Now, yes, I have had a lot of people talking about how hard they think the game is, but on the other end of it, I feel like it also brings in people. There are a lot of people that play games that are not that challenging, and so for people to come to this game and be like, man, wow, this game is actually difficult. I didn't just one-shot the boss, I actually had to learn the system and learn how to beat him. A lot of people are going to come in and they may get the game because it's actually that difficult. So just to let anyone know, if the first boss is a representation of this game, the game is going to be difficult. You're going to actually have to get better. If you don't get good, you're not going to get anywhere. Now that we're done talking about the difficulty, I want to talk about the weapons. There is a wide range of weapons in the demo already. So I can't even imagine how many different weapons there are going to be when the full game comes out. In the demo, there are over 10 plus weapons that all have unique movesets and special moves. From the bow staff to dual katanas to one katana to having a spear to there being a hammer. There are so many different weapons in the game already, and it's only the demo. So if you guys are looking for a lot of variety in your fighting, you have found the right place. Now the thing that's cool about this is you can actually equip multiple melee weapons at a time, and you can equip multiple ranged weapons at a time. So let's say I have a sword and then I have like a bow staff. I can use my sword and then switch into my bow staff whenever I want. I'm really glad that they added all these different type of weapons because it's going to allow people to play with whatever weapons they like instead of just forcing them to use, some of the basic stuff like, just a katana or things like that. It allows you the freedom to choose a wide array of weapons, and that's really nice. Now that we're done talking about the weapons, I do want to talk about the magic system. Now up front, I am going to let you guys know this is not a game where you're going to make a completely magic build and you're never going to use your melee attacks. This is just not that type of game. As far as the magic goes, it's more so you want to weave in your, normal attacks and your magic together to combo enemies and overwhelm them. There are 5 different virtues in this game, or you could technically say 5 different elements that will allow you to get different abilities depending on which one you upgrade. The wood one gives you lightning, the fire one obviously gives fire, the water one gives water, and then if you guys look at metal, it kind of has like a damage over time, poison type of thing, and then if you look at earth, that obviously gives you earth. Now that's not to say that they won't have different types of elements inside the virtues, but these are kind of like the base principles of each virtue. Now the cool thing about this is each virtue has 14 spells total. Multiply that times 5 and you get 70 spells in the demo alone. That already is a lot. Now in the full game, if they add more, that's going to be even crazier. But even as a full game, 70 spells is a lot to deal with. Now that we're done talking about the magic, I want to talk about the spirit bar. The spirit bar is going to be your all-purpose tool whenever you're fighting enemies. You use it to block, parry, dodge, use magic. Whenever you're hitting an enemy, your special moves, your martial arts, you use your spirit bar for everything. Now there's two sides of the spirit bar. You have the left side and you have the right side. And on top of that, the enemies and bosses you fight will also have a left side and a right side as well. If your left side gets maxed out, you will get staggered and be susceptible to taking more damage because you can't move. On the other hand though, if you max out an enemy or a boss's spirit gauge on the left side, this will allow you to do a really big hit on them, which is more so like a critical hit. It'll do a lot of damage. Now as you attack, the right side of your bar will fill up, and in doing so, it will allow you or give you access to more moves, whether it's martial arts, whether it's a heavy attack, whether it's allowing you to use more specials. There are a lot of different things you can do if you max out the right side of your spirit bar. Next up, I want to talk about the enemies. At the start of the demo and for most of it, you are fighting just normal humans. There's nothing too crazy about that. You get a little farther into the demo and you do start to realize you're fighting a couple of different zombie type enemies, and then at one point you do fight this really big beast. I'm not sure if it's like a lion or whatever it is. It's like a magical beast and you fight that. Then whenever you come into contact with the first boss, he seems human, but soon you'll realize that he's not. And then later on in the demo, you do come across a couple of other enemies that are definitely not humanoid. It's safe to say as far as this game goes, you're going to be fighting a bunch of different types of enemies, and I'm glad that they added variety instead of you having basically all human type enemies, because at that point it would get stale and you would eventually just figure out what all of them are going to do. But the fact that there are multiple different types of enemies, it'll keep the game fresh and keep us on our toes. Now talking a little bit more about the enemies as far as the difficulty, the enemies aren't too difficult to deal with if you are paying attention and staying on your toes. But if you do mess up, or if you accidentally, don't deflect or whatever, you can end up getting chunked for a large portion of your HP and you can end up dying. Remember, this is a Souls-like, so the enemies are going to be nothing to scoff at either. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is the character creation. The character creation is pretty solid. It's not too crazy, but in these type of games, I don't expect it to be. Like, this isn't GTA. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not going to be too much emphasis on what your character looks like as far as the gameplay goes, so I understand why it's not like super insane. But the customization is still actually really good. You can make your character taller, shorter, you can make them a little thicker, skinnier, give them a little bit more muscle definition. You can change all the facial features and things like that. I feel like overall, the character customization in this game is actually really good. One of the main things I want to immediately point out is the game has dreads. If you guys don't know, I have dreads. So when a game has a dread option for me, I am very happy. The next thing I want to talk about is the morale system. In this game, there is a morale system. Now, it's not the same as like, good and bad. More so, whenever you start a level, your morale will be 0. And the enemies that are around you will probably be around there too. Maybe 0, 1, 2, 3. It'll be pretty low. As you go through the stage, as you're fighting enemies, you're killing enemies and moving forward, your morale will go up. The higher your morale, the more damage you will do to enemies whose morale is not around yours. So if you're walking through a stage and your morale is at 10, but all the enemies around you morale is at like 2 or 3, you're going to be doing a lot more damage to them than they will to you. The morale system is basically a way to make you not too overpowered, while also rewarding you if you do grind out the morale in that stage. Now keep in mind, every new stage, level, chapter, episode, whatever you want to call it, every time you go to a new one, your morale will reset. So if you're in a stage and you grind your morale to 50 and you're one-shotting every enemy in that stage, once you go to a new stage, that won't be the case. Now obviously this doesn't factor in your level ups and everything like that. If you do level up your character and you do make your character strong without the morale, they're going to be strong no matter what. The morale is just a way to balance it just a little bit so that you're not too overpowered or too broken. So even if you're going through and some of the enemies are morale level 3 and you're one-shotting them, you might encounter a mini boss whose morale is level 15, and if yours is level 10, the boss is going to be a little bit harder. So it's just that kind of thing. It's not too crazy, but it is a nice touch to the game. Now the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is multiplayer. Yes, this game has multiplayer, and there are multiple different factors and facets that go into this. Number one, you can do co-op multiplayer with other people, but keep in mind, if I'm a lot farther than, say, my friend, and I join his world, it's going to bring my strength and my levels down to his world. It's kind of like Elden Ring, where it nerfs your character so that, like, if I'm level 3000 and my friend's level 50, I can't go to his world and just one-shot literally everything. it'll still be pretty tough. Although if I am that high of a level, it's not going to be that hard for me to still, you know, dish out tons of damage. I just can't be super overpowered in his world because it'll nerf me. Also, on top of that, it is groups of 3, so you and 2 other people is going to be how you guys go and roam and do whatever the case may be. The second thing I want to talk about is apparently there will be PvP as well, so you guys will be able to test out builds and fight other people and things like that. I know a lot of people like that, and me included. I think it's a pretty nice addition. But yeah, so there is multiplayer if any of you guys were wondering about that. But anyway, that is going to be everything as far as this video goes. Be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, comment down below, tell me what you guys think in the comment section. With that being said, I will see you guys next time. Peace.